Mama Kwaba, at the Palmas Council. So, your friend Deacon Palmas, marriage and relationship counselor, coping skills expert. Please, I want to plead with you. If you have not subscribed to this channel, I need your subscription. Press on the red button, turn on the notification bell, like the video, share and comment, and let me have your feedback. It keeps us moving. Today on Palmas Council, I want us to look at why abuse in marriage and relationship has increased. Why abuse in marriage and relationship has increased. Aden ama se obi etiti obi hye enyeyi ana obi eye ne obi mpe e wa aware ana relationship mu adoso ye mre so ana nansan. We keep on talking about abuse, and we know that we have physical abuse when it comes to physical assault, beating, hitting, slapping, and all those things. We have verbal abuse when it comes to verbal threats, insult, all those things. We have emotional abuse. And you know, say you can't say obi shobi ya, and obi tete obi, and obi ya dia, obi mpa. You know, you say you will say obi ebru obi ebutu obi didi obi atem, obi ka asema ya na be me nipa kura tim de ti abuduam akire nipa. Anaso obi ya ade da suban bi adi, ama obi adi ya wo na koma mu no abreko ahye no soma. All these are forms of abuse. But we want to know why. Because the fact of the matter is, you said you love this girl, you said you love this guy. You are in a relationship, preparing towards marriage, or you've ended up in marriage. So why that sudden, or why that behavior that now one of you is getting abused in that relationship or marriage? Which means that there is some problem somewhere that we need to look at. It is not always that we can say, oh, he has done this, he didn't do well, she didn't. But let's also psychologically look at what is behind these things. So if we want to handle it, then it can be of help. One, when it comes to psychology, or psychologically, one of the main factors that cause people to be abusive or comes with abuse in relationship or in marriage is when the person fails to resolve his or her past hurt. What I want to say is that maybe from the person's early childhood getting to middle adulthood, the person suffers some trauma, abuse, rape, all those things, some hurt, and the person is not able to resolve it before entering into another relationship or marriage. So when the person is not able to resolve this past hurt, the person carries this hurt, these emotions, all of these things into the marriage. Then there's what we call transference. The person transfers what he or she suffered from the relationship or from the early childhood, from the parents, environment, siblings, all those things. The person transfers it to the marriage and relationship. Then the person becomes abusive. An example is when maybe a person or a lady was raped from a stepfather, outsider, friends, people, we don't know. Now, if the person is not able to resolve it and the person enters into marriage or relationship, the person has this perception or transference that all men are the same. So now, you being in a relationship or in marriage with such a lady, if you want to have sex or if you want to touch this lady, now the person begins to afraid of you because he thinks that what the other guy did to her, you are also going to do the same to her. And when this nipa no owo na obi atono mo na and obi ahye na ya Na sɛ wɔntumi unresolve ansa na ɔbɛba relationship no mu a, ɔde ba wo so. Nti wobɛhu sɛ mmere biara wo ne no pɛ sɛ yɛ biribiara na nipa no bɛyɛ very abusive, aggressive, because wɔntumi unresolve that passage. Anaasɛ yɛmfa no sɛ there is this guy staying with the aunt, stepmother and co. Always they keep on insulting this guy. Your ugly face. You won't get any woman. Women are going to cheat on you when you get married. So if these things are in the person's mind, and the person is not able to resolve it and comes into a relationship or marriage, you will see that the person is carrying this idea that the stepmom, the aunt, the friends told him that women are going to cheat on him. So he begins to be aggressive on you, or begins to monitor you wherever you go. Want to know. The person begins to tell you, don't go here, don't come, because the person feels insecure. Then it can lead to the person become aggressive, violent, then abuse, all sorts of abuse in that relationship. So if you fail to deal with past hurt, and answer, if in the early stages, the person, he or she went into some trauma, and the person is not able to resolve it, growing up, and the person ends up in a relationship or marriage, the person is going to transfer this into this relationship or marriage, and then the person become abusive. Second thing we want to know is feeling of inferiority or inferiority complex. In psychology, when a person feels inferior, now the person wants to bridge the gap. So the person begins to sort for what we call compensation. The person wants to develop some attitude to compensate his or her weaknesses. So an example is this: when you go to school, the person who does not always do well when it comes to academics, the person is the number one bully in that class, because he knows that when you say that, oh, wabon, you don't do well, people are going to laugh at him or her. So the person becomes aggressive and bully, abusive. And in the class and one abon, pa. That's when he says when develop attitude be a nipa besera to man who you and inti o can ask man ball. No what to wobble. The person throws stones at you so that you will be afraid. You see, the person feels that if he or she does not develop this attitude, people will know that he or she is weak. So that is compensation. Or again, we have something we keep on saying that short people have short-tempered, quick-tempered, sorry. Short people have quick-tempered. It is not their fault. It is either they don't know what they are doing. A lot of things goes on in the unconscious mind. You see, they feel that in the unconscious mind that they are short. So people are going to trample upon them. People are going to look down on them. So whenever you want to do things with them or say them, quickly they become angry, quickly to fight back, so that you will not feel that they are weak. And to Nipano, who they say Mroyo Winimua, would develop a certain kind of attitude to build up so that the person will know that I'm strong. So in building for compensation or developing attitude for compensation, if the person did not get the right attitude for that compensation and get the wrong attitude, the person becomes violent, abusive. So when that person gets into marriage, the person transfers this into marriage. Good compensation will be like maybe the person always gets angry. So the person, instead of bullying people, instead of doing things that is the society frown upon it, the person can decide to channel this into boxing or wrestling. That is good compensation. Michael Phelps, the American swimmer, said, people look down upon him and he feel weak. So in order for people to accept him, he channeled his energy into swimming, so that if he's able to win medal for his country, people are going to love him. That is good compensation. Recently, in the ongoing Olympics, we heard that a certain black lady said that people were bullying her. So he channeled all this into wrestling, and now she has won a gold medal. That is good compensation. You're getting me? But if the person did not develop right compensation, the person becomes abusive. So feeling of inferiority. And it is only Nipano when you are in a marriage or relationship with somebody who feel inferior, insecure, you see the person will be monitoring you. The person will be abusive. The person keep on fighting you, hating you, because the person thinks that if a lot of guys keep on beating or abusing, or ladies keep on abusing men, because they feel that if they are able to do that, the woman, the said woman or guy will trample upon him or her, and they will know that he or she is weak. So feeling of inferiority or inferiority complex can also lead to a person being abusive in a relationship or marriage. The third thing is that environment. The environment the person is coming from plays critical role if the person is going to be abusive or not. Some people, they come from environment where their fathers always beat their mom, whether for good or bad reason. So that is what they know. They come from an environment where if the mom does something wrong to the father will not eat the mom's food. Some people are coming from an environment where if their father offend, if their mother rather offend the father, their mother will not allow the man to touch her, sleep with her, or have sex with her, and all those forms of abuse. So if the person comes from this environment and the person is not able to resolve it before entering into marriage or relationship, it can also lead to the person replicating these behaviors. So a lot of people are just beating, maltreating women, men, just because they saw their parents, their mom or their father, doing so in their marriage. So they feel that that is the best way and the best practice to handle issues and situations. So if you have such people coming from this environment, people are coming from an environment where everything is aggressiveness. Everything is beating, fighting, insulting, controlling. So when you meet such people, always they become abusive. So being abusive does not only come from the person is taking alcohol, drugs. These things can also, drugs, alcohol, and all those things can lead people to become abusive because they can lose their mind when they are being carried away by these substances. But these are not the only things. You are getting me? So feeling of inferiority can lead the person to abusiveness. Unable to resolve past hurt can also lead to the person become abusive. Environment where the person is coming from also plays major role if the person will become abusive in the marriage or relationship. So we can see that now of late, we can hear that someone has beaten a partner to the point of death. Someone has poured an acid onto the person. All these things are happening because people have become abusive. Also, one, because of one's disadvantage. Let's say if a person is living with a guy or a man married, then one or two things, the man become impotent. Now, because the man feels that if the lady leaves him, people will know that he is impotent. So now he begins to be soft, all that soft for the lady. So when the lady also gets to know that this is the reason why the man has become so, now the lady also takes advantage of it and begin to maltreat the man because he knows that the man in any way will not leave her. And the other thing is that If the man also keep on knowing that the lady won't the way out, and if the lady goes out, it is going to be a disgrace unto him, then the man begin to also abuse the woman to the point that some can even kill their partner. Because if you are dead, you can't go out there and say it or mention it to people that your guy is important, your guy is this. People go abuse people because maybe they are not financially sound. A lot of women are abusing men emotionally, verbal abuse, and physical abuse. Because maybe one way or the other, the guy has lost his work. And now the woman is the breadwinner of the household family. So all these things can lead to abuse. There are many more, but these few ones I've mentioned to you can lead to abuse. But what I want you to know is that all these things, there can be a way out. There is a help. If you get a psychosocial counseling, a therapy, there is a way out. So, if you know that you are coming from these backgrounds that I have mentioned here, before you enter or you venture into relationship and marriage, seek proper counseling and prayers so that you may be mentally and physically sound before you can end up in the relationship. If you know that you are coming from a relationship that you suffered abuse or you suffered broken heart, you have to wait and you deal with it before you enter into another relationship. If not, these people killing people, suicide, or one of these days we are going to look at mental health. So we will go more on this. People beating people, pushing people to death, beating, verbally assaulting people, threats, blackmailing, all these things, all these forms of abuse will reduce. Then we are going to have a peaceful marriage. We are going to have a loving relationship. A relationship that will be a healthy relationship, a healthy marriage, not a toxic relationship and a toxic marriage. A lot of people are dying in marriage and relationship because of abuse. A lot of people are dying because of emotional abuse. A lot of people are dying, becoming weak, inferior because of the kind of words that they hear from their partner. Enunti nneɛma wei nyinaa makeka no nyinaa ɛma nipa ɛtumi bɛyɛ abusive ɛwɔ relationship anaa awareɛ mu. But there is a way out. Proper counseling, therapy. We can take you to cognitive behavioral therapy in order to work on your cognitive, that your mind, your brain, and your behavior, so that it can impact your social life and your relationship with people. So if relationship can thrive, if marriage can thrive, and your relationship with people is not all that good, you have suffered from abuse, or you are a very abusive person, no one can stay with you. We want to reduce abuse in marriage. We want to reduce depression in marriage. We want to reduce anxiety in marriage. We want to reduce suicide in marriage. But you and I have a role to play. Please, don't hesitate to seek for counseling, psychosocial counseling for that matter, if you have these challenges before entering into a relationship and marriage. It is going to be of help. Ka ehunu sɛ awareɛ no bɛgyina anaa relationship no bɛduru awareɛ a ehia mu mmienu na usuban ne wo ne yɛ no ɛna ɛbɛkyerɛ sɛ awareɛ no bɛwie yie anaasɛ ɛnwie yie. In the multitude of counselors, there is safety. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Like it, share, and comment. I am Palmas. You can call me on 0547 86 5534. 0547 86 5534 for further discussion and advice. You can also follow me on Instagram, palmas.edu, Facebook, Palmas Edu. Kahunu sɛ nyansa ɛfiti ase ne nyamesuro. Bye bye.